It's a blend of caring, concern, superhero-like perspective-taking abilities with the kind of panache that only Jennifer can exude. Number 3, Jennifer is forward-looking. The path is important because it helps prepare for the future. She has an eye and a talent for knowing what the field wants and where it's headed, and she is often the one to lead the charge. The other part of this is that where Jennifer goes, people will follow, and that's a benefit to us all. Having worked with Jennifer very closely for the last 10 years, I can certainly attest that to this all being true. And on a personal note, I am phenomenally grateful to have had Jennifer as an advisor, and her impact on my life has extended well beyond an advisor role, sort of a surrogate mom, the older sister that I always wanted, and a lifelong friend. So congratulations.
I'm like, no, she's got as much time as she wants. While I pull this up, see if I can get this. Here we go. I know I put it on here.
Top left.
It's called Masha.
Oh, it was
I
on
have. I'll put it in. So I had 2 talks prepared for today. One was one that was a research-heavy talk, and it gave ode to a lot of Cassie's research, a lot of Ionis's research.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And
There
then
it is.
Emily's work. And then I thought, should I recap past work, or should I recap what I hope the field goes to even greater degree than it already is? And I went with the forward-looking one. I didn't see Cassie's wordle. So I wanted to say, first of all, thank you so much, Rich. Thank you so much for SCP. It's really an honor to be here. I also want to say thank you to many of my colleagues, like Jonathan in the room, and also co-authors like Cassie, Emily, and Jonas. I know Melanie's giving a talk nearby. So you've made my life so rich, and I'm so grateful for everything you've done. I wanted to start off with just this single, I think I'm just going to present a single paper. This is one with Emily and Kathleen and Roy Baumeister. But in order to explain why I hope this paper, which is relatively generative, it's relatively exploratory, I think it's important and I'm excited about it. I wanted to tell you a little bit about me. So after I got my PhD at Stanford, I went to UCLA for 4 years and had a ridiculously fun time with Gavin Fitzsimmons and David Bell, and it was just a wonderful time. You know, for 4 years, I worked really, really hard. I would take a little time off to work out and have fun with Dave and Gavin, but for the most part, we were very hardworking, and we were able to get a lot of really fun and interesting work done. But on Sundays, especially at UCLA, especially in the afternoons, I somehow feel a little empty. And I never really knew why. After like 20 Sundays of feeling a little empty, I started trying to think about it, talk about it with my friends. And I think for me it was something like where I felt so grateful about this remarkable career we all have. I mean, it's every day I pinch myself. But at the same time, I had this feeling like, you know, is there something more? Can I be doing something else in the world? Should I leave the field? I always kind of wanted to be an oncologist. Could I go be an oncologist after getting a PhD in marketing? I don't even know how that works. And also, I love my field. I love what I was doing, and I really wanted to eventually be hopefully a great mom and a great partner and a great friend. And I didn't know how I could do that and be an oncologist. So if you start thinking about like these, you know, careers we pick almost randomly sometimes, you think about, you know, you do what you love, you do. We're often told, you know, follow your passion. You want to do what you do well, so you're good at something and you're going to probably do it. What the world will pay for so you can make money, and then what the world needs. And what I really felt like was that I had nailed 2 of these and done a pretty good job on the 3rd. So I really liked what I was doing. I had a great and very, very fun career for so long. I got hired back Stanford, and that was exciting because I got married, and then I was able to have 3 beautiful children, one of whom is here with me today. Here, can you say hello? But there was something still grating on me. You know, at the end of the day, I really felt like I was helping Stanford MBAs sell more stuff. And that's not bad, right? There's worse things. And many of these Stanford MBAs were going to go work at nonprofits and do policy. And when I say many, I mean like very few. But you know, some of them, and I found them out, and I said, like, you know, let me see if I can help. And there was a few things that I worried about in our field too. Consume. For me, that just it was a term that just like grated on me, and this idea of consumers consuming more stuff. You know, I started writing papers where I was more likely to write the word individuals in the article. The second thing was, you know, buy. You know, if you look at our dependent variables, they're mostly purchase intent or choice or attitude or willingness to pay. And now these, again, aren't bad, but by and large, it was all about buy. And for the most part, 90 to 95% of our research is about buying for our own selves. Would you buy this? Would you want this? There is a small literature on gift giving, and the work, especially for qualitative researchers, is groundbreaking in this area. But I think as a social psychologist, we haven't done as good of a job of saying, well, what do you want to do for others? And the third thing that started to really worry me a little bit was this notion of happiness. You know, trying to maximize our utility function oftentimes meant that what we're trying to do is get happier, and oftentimes get happier for now. Now, there are pioneering researchers in the room, like Jonathan, who are looking at other things besides what am I doing right now, and they're looking over the long run. But for the most part, we're looking at what makes us happy right now for ourselves. And if you look at marketing today, these are slides that Cassie pulled together for some of her groundbreaking work. You start to see the promises of happiness. And it's not just in Coca-Cola and other beverages and ice cream. It's in tennis shoes and Zappos and even home goods can make us happy. And certainly fragrance can make us happy, and Nivea body lotion. Now, I am the first one to like a good body lotion. So I am not saying that this is all a negative thing, but it did start getting me start thinking about the whole positive psychology movement, which again had incredible intent. It's had such a big impact on our field, and for so many good reasons. But it has also, I think, increased the chance that a lot of us value happiness to the neglect of other things, because we do see so much benefit in happiness. And yet I started to wonder, is there a downside to happiness, or is there a different way of thinking about happiness? I came upon a very small little 3-page article. It was a review of Dan Gilbert's book. It was written by Leif Van Boven and Laura Johnson-Graham in 2007. And it really stuck with me. It was just a little 2x2. And what these authors did was try and start to pull apart the different types of happiness. You have fleeting and shallow types of happiness. That's your chocolate that you get. You have long-lasting, yet shallow meaning. You have deeper meaning that could be fleeting, like a small gift, a praise, a smile. And then you have deep meaning that can be longer-lasting. Now, this is just one way to break down happiness types. Cassie and Seth and I have done other ways of breaking down happiness types, and I notice Mel and I are also exploring this. But for me, this really stuck with me because it made me start thinking about what is more long-lasting, deep types of happiness. When we started doing research in this area, most people started saying, well, that's happiness that's truly meaningful. So Kathleen, Roy, Emily, and I started to look at the simple question is, to what degree is happiness can be pulled apart from meaningfulness? And what we did was a set of studies in JOPP, Journal of Positive Psychology, which I never really thought I'd publish it, but we were invited to do this, and so we just pulled together this exploratory study, and then followed it up with some others. In this one study, we assessed 400 adults that were represented in the United States, sampling them a few times over the course of a month, and we asked a series of questions. 2 sets of questions were the most important. Simple happiness measures that other prior researchers have shown again and again. we showed the same, or we assessed the same measures, but just focusing on meaningful life. So it was really about happiness versus a meaningful life. Now the first thing to do, note, is that these two constructs are highly correlated, sharing more than half the variance. So they're highly intertwined constructs. But what we were interested in are the contexts in which they might be pulled apart and the correlates of what happens when you pull them apart. So we did a very specific analysis, computing partial correlation. So we looked at happiness controlling for meaningfulness and looking at meaningfulness controlling for happiness. And we looked at the differential or opposite predictors. So variables that positively correlated with one construct but were unrelated or negatively correlated with the opposite construct. And I'm just going to share with you a few of the most interesting findings. The first is people are happy when they get what they want, but meaning is found elsewhere. So as you might potentially expect, the number of times people said the percentage of time they felt good and the percentage of time that they felt bad, both highly correlated with happiness but had no real relationship to meaningfulness. So you see people that are seeking happiness, and implicitly what this research is saying is what they're seeking is maximal or frequent positive affect and infrequent or rare negative affect. A second finding is that there was a significant difference in terms of how oriented we are in others. Again, these are self-report measures. But what we showed was a very positive correlation, a significant positive correlation between reporting to be self-focused, being a taker. These individuals who are high in happiness also said that they had a lot of benefits that they received from others. The individuals in the meaningfulness category reported themselves to be other-focused, being a giver, and being benefiting. They said that they had many benefits that others received from them. And the third interesting finding was that there was a real difference in terms of temporal orientation or temporal control. In the happiness set of people, they said that they were often very much in the present. They lived in the moment. They expressed frequent mentions of happiness being short-lived and fleeting. Meaningfulness types of people reported to be very focused on the past and the present. Past and the future. They linked experiences, events across time, and they reported to experience happiness in a way that was much more lasting and permanent. So just to wrap up, happiness was highly associated with feeling good now, being present-focused, and being a taker or being more self-oriented. Meaningfulness was highly associated with feeling both good and bad, not necessarily in a significant way, but not correlating like happiness did. Being connected to the past, present, and future, and being a giver. Now, the reason I think this is an interesting study is because I think it has important implications for where we're taking our field. You've already seen this in the SCP, an early morning session on pro-social behavior. You see people moving away from just buying for themselves or maybe consuming to sort of please themselves. Cassie has a great new paper in JCR on savoring and appreciating. So to what degree can we also study these things about savoring and being grateful and appreciating? A second shift that's exciting to watch is buying and buying for yourself, moving toward giving and giving to others. And the third is a shift potentially from happiness now to potentially happiness in a lasting way. So when I start thinking about meaningfulness, which Webster's defined as the quality of having significant value and importance, I thought I'd just end with a few ways that I think that our research is not just can be meaningful, but is in continuing to grow to be meaningful. So one question I think that's interesting is what research is meaningful to you, and this is likely to change over time. I wasn't able to see during Dahl's talk on play, but I can't underscore how important play is and how, what I hope comes from this talk is not that having fun and having a very fun career is bad, it's not, but it may very well change over time. This is research that Seb Kamar, Cassie's and my colleague, collected. Over 12 million data points in the blogosphere were combed for all mentions of I feel and I am feeling. So this was over a course of 3 years, and a single slide condenses this 12 million data point. What Seth and Jonathan Harris did was they created a program that counts the blogosphere for all mentions of I feel and I am feeling. And then they correlate what what correlates with I am feeling. So the way to read this graph is we start out simple, and these are 11 to 14-year-olds, and they don't have a lot of feelings associated with them. So it's my 11-year-old son, you say, how are you? And Devin says, fine. What did you do today? Nothing. Okay. Did anything happen to you today? Nope, we're good. All right, so that's my 11-year-old. But we soon fill up with angst, and this is the 15 to 18-year-olds who are feeling a high degree of angst. Anxiety, stress. In California right now, there's anecdotes and some data to suggest that people have never been more stressed than right now, at least in the teenage years. And then you move for feelings of confinement, and these are feelings of not being known, feeling very alone, until we leave those behind to conquer the world. And this is the 25-year-old, where there is a motive actions around power and status and money, or the potential to get those things, before gradually trading ambition for balance. And this is the individual who's now seeking to have an impact on their career, but also potentially have a family, and also potentially have health in their lives. Developing an appreciation for our bodies, our physical bodies, because at age 35 they go downhill in a very big way. and our children, and evolving a sense of connectedness, gratefulness, happy, calm, and blessed. And this is work to show that when happiness is felt at the later stages, it's often equated with contentment rather than, for example, excitement. And I think this is important because as we chase or seek meaning in our own research and our own lives, it's important to know that this is individually variant and it's going to change over the life course. The second thing I hope to think about is what research is meaningful to our field. We focus on research that has potential to make impact over time. And one reason I'm so honored, frankly, to be here is because of Sharon and Vicki. And I can't point to two other people where their work has had so much lasting impact. If you look at the work of cultural psychology, Sharon was not only a pioneer, she's still a pioneer in this area. And if you look at measurement and its impact in a very significant way, there is no one more important than Vicki, unless you're in the room, in which case you're very important too. The third is what research is meaningful to individuals. Does our research improve the lives of others? For a convenient example, right before this talk, Emily and I just ran a very small study of 30 people, and I just asked them, when do you feel empty? I was curious, by the way, if they were also empty on Sundays, because then I would feel a little bit better about my own emptiness. Turns out I'm alone, pretty much. Everyone else feels better on Sundays, I guess, go to church. Anyway, the second finding was that when people feel empty, it's usually the top three answers were it's because they're alone. They feel there's a gap between what they can do and what they're doing now. And the third is they feel bored or lack excitement. And I was so curious about that because I think if we start to think about what type of research we're doing and what kind of impact we're having on the lives of individuals, I'm curious as to what degree we can help make people feel less alone, or at least experience moments of connectedness. Can we help make people achieve what they think that they are able to achieve? Can we make them feel like there is more excitement in their life? The fourth is what research is meaningful to organizations. Can we overlay research that illuminates how to create lasting value at scale? I used to be a little, I would say, not embarrassed, but not necessarily proud that I was in business school, helping MBAs potentially make more money, again, except for the few that go to nonprofits. And, but now I'm really proud, I have to say, especially at Stanford right now, there's social entrepreneurs and there's people that really want to make a difference. Millennials is an incredible generation of people that I think have a real hope to make a difference. And I'm so proud that at least in the last few years, there's been ways for them to be interested in research. So I think, and you probably have seen this before in your classes, that when you bake research into your teaching, they get more excited. They start to see it. And it's a really exciting opportunity for us to make it so that our research isn't living here and our teaching is living here. How can you help them make the difference at scale? And lastly, what research is meaningful to the world? What does the world need? And we want our lives to matter beyond ourselves. So I just wanted to end with this final graph of that even if we don't always experience all four of these sort of Venn diagrams at one point in time, there's ways to kind of move your field or move what you're doing in your field in a way that might actually create that meaning. And on that note, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of
just a few minutes. If anybody has a burning question for one of the speakers, please ask it. Otherwise, you might just talk with them in small groups after the session adjourns. So what's your preference? Lyle, do you have a question? You don't? Okay. All right, thank you very much to everyone. Congratulations.